let AI do it. I don't believe that's true. You shouldn't do that. Okay? I would not let software programs, especially critical software programs that could influence society in your life, into the hands of other programs to generate. So I would continue studying programming, software engineering, computer science, and listen to your own heart, don't listen to other pundits. Okay? And by the way, you can do a lot of programming if you're an engineer or a scientist. If you're a physicist, chemist, you do programming. All my friends that were electrical engineers and mechanical engineers do a lot of programming. So if you like programming, you may want to study engineering. You can also work with computers. Or business, medicine. Okay? So here we go.
Hi, I'm Indrajit Pogar. I'm an engineer by training, and I have been in the industry for about 25 years now. I worked with IBM for about 18 years, and after that, last 3-4 years, I've been working for, 3 years with AWS, Amazon Web Services. And how I got started with computers, probably back home in India when I was growing up, about your age, and computers were more expensive at that time, almost as expensive as buying a car, perhaps. And I remember one of my neighbor friend's dad, he got his son a computer rather than buy a car, and he told me about the choice that he made because they don't earn a lot of money in India, but he made sure that his son had that, and his kids had that education, with the computer. So I think, that's where I came from. I got interested with my friend with computers, and I did my undergraduate in computer science and engineering in India, in the Institute of Technology, and there we had the first large systems that I came across. We programmed to Unix, to Linux, and that came much later. And then we started, then after that I came to the US, got my master's at Penn State University in computer science and engineering. It was even bigger and more powerful computers. And then lately, the computers that I've been working with are so large that, now it's possible to do things which, it's almost like taking a human brain and building a system which mimics the same kind of processing that happens sort of much we don't even understand the human brain processing, but we can try to mimic some of that behavior with this large computational power that we have in our hands. And that's why now you see things like ChatGPT. And so, I'm here showing my screen, and I thought I'd like to give you a little demonstration of what the kind of things that you can do with it, and then maybe ask our distinguished panel here as to what are the things that you should watch out for. You shouldn't let these, generative AI things do for you. And there are ethical boundaries. There are also a lot of immense potential for good use and benefit to society. So that's where we are. So the first thing I did here was I just asked ChatGPT a question: what is generative AI? And it came up with a pretty good answer. You can see here, you can do a whole bunch of things with it. You can generate text, you can generate images, music, and as Professor Haydock was talking about, you could even have it write poetry, so creative applications, all sorts of things like that. And I have a little example here. I was playing with it yesterday. And here is like an image generator. So I gave it a prompt. Generate a realistic image of an elderly Indian lady drinking tea, sitting on a sofa, watching television. And this is what it came up with. That has kind of made that, you can make it do very creative things. And then there's this little application I wanted to show you very quickly. It's called Party Rock. It's an AWS playground. And here you can actually have it write some poetry for you. So let's say I wanted to do a little, okay. So I think there's an example. Let's do a little haiku, okay? Japanese poetry. Any suggestions for a topic? Okay. Yeah. So let's see what it comes up with. Way to run the app. It just makes you sign in first. It's not done it yet. Okay, okay. Okay, so this is the haiku it came up with. Algorithms dance, weaving words and images, AI's artistry. And it came up with this image like this. So anyway, so this is maybe a fun thing, but as I'm working with this almost every day at work, I see that big, large companies are starting to take advantage of this kind of a creative power that is available now, and they're feeding it all kinds of information, private information, information that's not publicly available, but combined from various different sources, and asking these models to come up with automatic ways of figuring out deep questions which a human would take maybe quite a bit of time to start processing and looking, sifting through all that data to come up with those answers. So there are applications that are happening in now finance, in insurance, in medicine, and people are building applications just like this in the industry. So, and it's not very difficult to get started with it. You can get started with it with simply some basic understanding of what these models are capable of, and start using it as just with text input, language. So that's what I wanted to say. And I also wanted to ask professors here about what are the things that you would think are dangerous that you shouldn't be doing with these kinds of tools, and watch out for those things. And while you should adopt this kind of technology, you should be wary of certain aspects of it. Let's start with maybe.
Great, you're gonna let me go first on this one. What should you not, or what should you watch out for with AI, or what should you not let it do? I'd say there's probably a ton of things that you really need to be mindful of. And I guess really this starts with basic information. Information about you in particular. I think everybody here has probably at some point heard some stories about identity theft. And I think that these new AI tools are, in many subtle ways, infringing on that. And the AI, it might not have your social security number, but can it find your image or generate an image of you, or mimic your voice or things like that? There's all kinds of ways where the AI can, in that subtle way, sort of replace you or act like it's you. And so I think that's certainly one area where you definitely have to watch out. And I'm sure we can think of other really good examples like that. But here's the other thing that I think people don't think about too much. And that is the question of how does the presence of AI change society? Because a very superficial look at this from an ethics standpoint is this used for good or is it used for bad? But the question that's usually not asked is, how does its presence change the way that we live our lives? And a very quick example is right here. Pretty much everybody is expected at this point. If you're 14 and up, maybe, it's expected that you have one of these, and you really can't live your life without it. Quick example, I remember during COVID, a lot of places like going to the dentist, you could not actually go into the office. They would have a sign say, when you arrive, call, go on the app and let us know that you've arrived. Well, what if you don't have one of these? And you can't go to the dentist, right? Or you have to go knock on the door and say, hello, I don't have a cell phone, not have a smartphone, and just some crazy things came out of that. I was recently, with my son, we went to get his haircut. And we went into the barber shop. I'll leave the franchise nameless, but they said, well, when you arrive, you need to get on the app and sign in. It's like, well, I'm sorry, I don't need a smartphone to get a haircut. Looking ahead to AI, there's going to be so many ways where it's going to be assumed that we have AI. It may be assumed that we use AI for this, that, or the other thing. And it is going to change our society in ways that we're maybe not prepared for, or it's going to change things faster than what the individual is going to be prepared for, and certainly faster than what our legal system is going to be prepared to handle. So here, I'll pass it on to anyone else.
I think for my standpoint, I look at AI as another tool, although it's rapidly progressing right now. It is another tool, and like all technology, you have to be a critical thinker and you have to analyze what you are utilizing it for and what you are hoping to get back. And so I think AI is amazing at data and looking at large amounts of data. So I've used it personally with trying to gather my own thoughts and getting it to prompt me to think deeper about something, or helping me to get to an end point when I'm kind of stuck. And I think that is an amazing use of it. But I think the most important element of AI is going to be the human interaction with the AI. And just like all human interaction, you have the good and you have the bad. And so I think you just have to be a critical consumer, and I think you need to understand what you're doing. Right now, so many students think that Google is the be-all, end-all, know-all, and you can't just put something into Google and assume what you're getting back is correct. You have to be critically analyzing that information and where it's coming from. And I think AI is going to be the same way. I'm extremely excited about the way that AI is being crafted to help personalize education for students. I'm extremely excited about the way that you can create your own GPT right now, and you can kind of use the data you want to build that GPT, so you know where that data is coming from, and it being able to kind of take on some of those tasks that we waste so much time on, and helping us build out in that way. But I think it is so rapidly progressing that I fear that it's going to be like social media, where we didn't take enough time as we were getting into it to really think through it. And so now we're trying to go backwards. And I see that as well with AI and how we're using AI, because it kind of crept into our lives through the smartphones and the other things that we're like, oh, this is great, it can do it for me, it can do this. And so people need to think a little deeper about kind of their uses of it and what information they're giving it, and then how valuable the information is they're getting back.
Well, I don't have much else to say except be cautious of what you see and read. I think AI can be a source of a wealth of misinformation and disinformation. So from generating fake images, generating fake stories, if you read anything, double and triple check the sources. Nowadays, I don't think you can trust much when it comes to all these tools that people could use in negative ways. Now, on the other side, AI can be a great help in running your life and making things easier, but don't let it take over your thinking capabilities. Okay? Don't rely on it that much. That's all I have to say. But the future is here.
so I think that's a great point. If we can, it's a good transition to our next question, which would be, as you know, we're all educators here, and we're wondering, what do you guys see the role of AI will play in the future of education? Do you want to get started?
Education?
Yeah.
Because I can't.
Yeah, just artificial intelligence and education.
Sorry. Well, it could open up the doors for a lot of plagiarism and cheating, I think, and take over your thinking. So instead of you thinking about how to critically analyze a situation and develop your own mental skills in solving problems, you're going to rely on this tool to do it for you. Okay, so there's some negative effects in that respect. Otherwise, as far as learning environments go, it'll provide a wealth of ways that for you to learn things in all fields that would maybe take the place of a school like this. So, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, I think all teachers, our jobs are obsolete, and we're going to be replaced by machines. So, oh, sure, well, yeah, we're just going to, yeah. But that's okay, because all students are going to be replaced by machines as well. I think, Mr. Wizard, you might have shared this with me, this story about the college lecture hall where day one, the college lecture hall is filled with 100 students and the professor who's giving his talk. And maybe on lecture 2, 1 or 2 of those students decided they would just put a tape recorder in and record the lesson since the professor just talked the whole time. And then as the term went on, the students were more and more being replaced by a whole set of tape recorders as people were figuring out they could just record the lecture. And then fast forward to the very last day of the lecture when the entire room is filled with tape recorders and there's no students. And there's also no professor because the professor's just there playing the tape of the lesson that he recorded. So.
So I think the aspect of cheating or really just ethics and using other people's information for your own is an underlying cross thread that has been through education all along. And I don't know that AI is going to make it worse, make it better, but I do like that it's disrupting education. It's disrupting the way we think about the questions that we need to ask and requiring us to really know our students and know the right questions to ask to get them to think deeper. It's taking some of the workload off of us so that we can have the time to really personalize education. And it's also making education more equitable, because I think it's going to provide resources to areas where students don't have access to amazing teachers that can engage with them and have conversations. So it's allowing companies like Duolingo and Sizzle and these different places to create these virtual tutors that can help you think through the process, not give you the answer, but really be that personalized teacher that you didn't have access to in your classroom, or maybe you had access to the amazing teacher, but when you're home, you still need that extra piece. And so for me, I think AI is only going to amplify the education process, but it's going to disrupt it first, because we have been talking for quite a while about the way education is changing, and we saw a huge disruption with COVID. And although it was like oh my goodness, we're all losing our mind, it was an amazing end reflection of kind of what changed and why and how it needed to. And so I think AI is going to do similar things in kind of shifting the way we're doing things, shifting the way we're thinking, shifting how we're collaborating. But again, we have to really always be that critical consumer and that critical creator versus just using it to get knowledge. Because it's going to change who you need to do what jobs. If AI can provide somebody base information, then you